Autism was first discovered in 1910. Let's learn a little bit more. Now, we find that there is a relationship on vaccination, but it's not causative. There is a direct causative relationship with certain chemicals, farm chemicals, pesticides. If we look at the history of immunization, we'll see that it dates way back in history. And autism was not even discovered. But when synthetic chemicals were first released into farms in the same location, that is when 1 year later autism was discovered. Now, these same type of chemicals now today are in mother's milk. They're everywhere. And if we really look into this situation, we're going to see that when these synthetic chemicals were first used in an area between Switzerland and France, that then is when autism was discovered. A doctor and a group of doctors found out that there were children that had a type of schizophrenia they'd never seen before. It was just never seen before. They didn't know what to think of it. And as they looked at these children, they found that these children were internalized or into themselves, so they called it autism. And this autism was then discovered 1 year after these chemicals were put into those farms. A direct correlation. Now, if we look around the world today, we're going to see that autism is spreading just like these chemicals are spreading. That there's a direct problem here, that the mother, when carrying the child exposed to these chemicals, it sets up the autism problem. And we see a direct correlation, a perfect correlation, that tells us that these type of pesticides, herbicides, these synthetic chemicals are directly the cause. And every child who has been exposed to these chemicals is at risk. And every autism child is definitely has been exposed to those chemicals. If we look at it and we see how autism is expanding throughout the world, we're going to see a direct correlation. We don't see autism developing much in countries that do not use these chemicals. The more the countries use these chemicals, the more autism we see, as that there truly is a direct correlation between this. And even the World Health Organization has recognized that these chemicals cause cancer and autism. And these chemicals get into the womb, they get into the environment, into the food chain, and they create this damage. And this is where autism happens, in development in the womb. And it's even in the breast milk. And we have to do something, because if it doesn't change, half of all of the children in the United States will be autistic by 2025. We have to recognize this. And we also have to recognize that this is just the canary in the coal mine. As the gas builds up and it gets dangerous in the mine, the canary dies. Well, this is where our own children are the canary now. This is just the tip of the iceberg as these synthetic chemicals do more and more damage, as they create loss of jobs, loss of families, loss of relationships. Diseases are just the tip of the iceberg, diseases and death. There's so many other things that they cause. And now we know that the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to a team of researchers who found natural ways to deal with things like malaria and roundworms. And we have developed natural ways to help with autism and etc. You can dig these through our books and help to understand more.